Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to do today, so there's no time to waste. The question is simple. Can you complete the 1 hour of Deep Forest race? The answer is also simple. Of course you can. There's many cars that can complete this challenge while being at or under the 620 performance point limit. But we're going to step things up a notch. You see, the top 10 leaderboard for this event is mainly occupied by the Suzuki Cappuccino, which becomes overpowered and broken if you give it the engine swap from the Mazda RX-7 and tune it just right. In fact, the world record driver has completed 40 laps and they were in the Cappuccino. So the burning question that no one is asking is, can you do 40 laps in the Deep Forest 1 hour race without using the Suzuki Cappuccino? Jesus Christ, that is a mouthful of a question. And the rules for this challenge are pretty straightforward. The car must be 620 performance points or under to be able to enter this event. For obvious reason, the car cannot be a Suzuki Cappuccino, and to make things a tad bit more interesting, the car cannot be a K car. And with all that out of the way, let's begin. Attempt number 0. So this is where things actually began, where it was this one random day where I was really bored and I was just curious to see how many laps the Nissan Skyline R32 was able to do at the Deep Forest 1 hour race. So quickly whipped up a tune and just went ahead and started going at it. And while this car did drive alright, it wasn't the fastest thing that I've driven here. So with this car I was doing 132s, 131s, so it wasn't the fastest car out there, but luckily I was able to get 39 laps out of this car, which is pretty impressive for a non-K car. So then that's why the question started brewing if 40 laps was even possible. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to use a different car, so that's where the Nissan Skyline R34 comes in. In my opinion, I love the way it looks, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with this car and see if I can try to make 40 laps work with this car. But first, I'm going to go ahead and put a wide body on this good boy. But the most important thing is that this car is going to get the engine swap from the Nissan R92 CP. So with this race car engine, its fuel economy is going to go through the roof, and its fuel economy is so good I will not have to worry about refueling for this race. And if we're going to go all out in this race, we might as well personalize it, which is why I made a livery of my VTuber Oshi Kira Kilovolt. It definitely did not take me an entire week to make the livery and the decals. I'm definitely a normal person. But the week has flown by and there's more cappuccinos that are occupying the top 10 leaderboard. So we should probably go ahead and get started with the run. So here is a quick glimpse of the tune that I used, and do note that I'm using stock brakes. Attempt number 1. Okay, so this is where the adventure truly begins, and right away I'm going to see that this car has some pretty good acceleration right off of the bat, so it's going to make clearing all of these AI cars pretty easy. Unfortunately, I brake way too late, and I'm going to go ahead and go off track and take out an AI car with me. Attempt number 2. Okay, so with that small little oopsie out the way, just got to get it out of the system. And this time, I just got to brake just a little bit earlier, and I should be able to make it into turn number 1 without too much of an issue. So brake just a little bit earlier, and unfortunately, the AI cars are just going to have none of it, and they're going to send me into the wall. Beautiful. Attempt number 3. Okay, so I managed to survive turn 1 lap 1. Can I survive turn 1 lap 2? Unfortunately, due to this thing called skill issue, the answer is no. So I spent a few more minutes adjusting a couple more things, which leads us to attempt number 4. Okay, so luckily I was able to survive turn 1 laps 1, 2, and 3, which is why we're at lap number 3. Unfortunately, the skill issue is going to continue to be a thing. I'm going to poke out of the track, and I'm going to get whacked with a 1 second penalty. And because I went off of the track, I'm going to have dirty tires, which is something I'm definitely not going to take into account for as I go exit the hairpin, and I'm going to spin out. Attempt number 5. Okay, I think I got all of my silly little mistakes out of my system, so now let's go ahead, lock in, and try to get these 40 laps done. And as we get started with the race, gonna go ahead and fly by the McGann Trophy, the other Skyline R34, and gently use these two cars on the right to help me turn in just a little bit better. But luckily I'm able to get a faster acceleration, just fly past the Cayman Group 4, and gonna quickly approach the Toyota Supra, in which they're gonna get in the way, but luckily they do open up a little bit, and I'm able to just swing by in and try to get the position taken, which I go ahead and do that, albeit not the cleanest, but we still got the job done. So lap number 1 is basically just trying to get past everyone as quickly as possible to minimize the amount of time lost fighting with them. And luckily here for the back straight, the R34 is really fast, so it's able to make quick work out of the other AI cars. And now there's only one AI car left, and luckily I'm able to just quickly pass by them just as I start lap number 2. And with an entire track open to me now, I'm gonna go ahead and just start putting laps in and try to get really quick laps to make the 40 lap race a reality. So getting a 131.1, I think I could do a little bit better. If I can get 130s, then I should be in a really good spot. And if I can constantly get 130s, then that should make life a heck of a lot easier. But 10 laps in, there is a bit of tire wear on the lower left hand corner of the screen, but the car is still driving alright. Constantly getting 131s, there is a bit of consistency, so things are looking alright so far. And it is this lap where I will have to start dealing with the lapped cars, but luckily this Swift is able to just swing by towards the left, and I'm able to get past them without too much of an issue. The same is going to go with the G70. They do make a little bit of space, and I'm able to just squeeze past them, and luckily that was on the back straight. However, on lap number 18, this is where things start to go downhill, as the front right tire is about to start to die, as it is nearing full tire wear. And unfortunately, well, first of all, I'm going to be a bit of an idiot and hit the Toyota Supra. But with the front right tire nearing max tire wear, I'm just going to get some crazy understeer, as now there's basically no grip left on the front right tire, and I'm just going to be understeering for days. And because of that, I'm going to be losing a lot of time, already 2 seconds down, because I am going to be having a really hard time turning left. And same goes with this hairpin. I have to slow down a lot more so I don't understeer off of the track. And yeah, so every time I have to turn left, I'm just going to be losing a lot of time. So I decided, you know what, lap 18, I'm going to bail out and go into the pit stops. And the thing is that even though I'm only going in for a tire change, I'm still losing around, I think it's around 20 seconds, give or take. That's a lot of time wasted. And if I'm trying to make 40 laps a reality, I think I might have to do one pit stop. But unfortunately, with this run, I decided to try 2 stop because I was an idiot. But going into lap number 22, finally poking into the 130, so things are looking good so far. And yeah, the Cayman getting in the way. But the thing is that I have to constantly get 130s because I'm going to have to go back into the pit stop later on in the race. And getting a 130.7, so things are looking alright, but I'm not going to be holding my breath just yet. And in this lap I was able to get a 130.6, so it does help that I have less fuel, so the car is able to go a bit faster. However, lap number 35 is where the tire wear is going to be a problem again. And this is where I'm going to realize that doing a 2 stop may not have been the best idea to do, because again, each time I pit, I'm losing around 20 seconds give or take, which means I'm going to be losing another 20 seconds. A bit more because this Megan trophy got in the way. But I am going to go back in and do another pit stop, get another tire change done. Luckily, fuel will never be an issue because I'm using the engine from the Nissan R92 CP. So get the tire change done, lose another 20 seconds give or take, and at this point just try to drive as fast as I can. But I think that second pit stop, okay, what am I doing there? But anyways, I think with that second pit stop, it's going to seal my fate where the 40 lap run is going to be impossible, but it's going to be here where I poke off of the track, which is going to add insult to injury because I'm going to get a 2.5 second penalty. Normally, if the penalty was on light, I think that would have been a half second penalty, but yeah, the penalty settings is on heavy, so yeah, you're getting a 2.5 second penalty, so losing at least 2 seconds because you're not too far from the hard braking zone for this hairpin. But still, losing 2 seconds when things are going to be tight is a pretty big deal. And it's going to be right here where lap number 39, there's only 10 seconds left in this race, and once the timer hits 0, whatever lap I'm on is going to be the final lap, and I just have to complete this lap. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to do 39 laps, and I think that second pit stop really sealed my fate along with the extra penalties. So with this run, I was about 23 seconds off of being able to make the 40 lap run work. So because of this, I'm going to need to go back in and adjust a couple of things and hopefully make my life a little bit easier. So gonna do a couple of changes and back to the track we go. To number 6. Okay, so I made a couple of changes, made the car a bit more loose, so I should have a better time through the corners. Unfortunately, I think I made the car a little too loose as it starts to slide, gets into the grass, and just sends me into the wall. Attempt number 7. I poke out of the track, and at this point I knew there was a fat penalty waiting for me, so at this point I might as well give up and go to the next attempt. Attempt number 8. So I'm not gonna lie, I was starting to get just a tiny bit little frustrated because I kept screwing up on things where I shouldn't be screwing up on. But luckily with this run, I was able to lock in and just start to drive a heck of a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and skip towards the end of lap number 1 where I was able to pass the entire field. And then we're going to go ahead and skip all the way to the end of lap number 18 where the tire wear issue begins to be a problem once again. Now here's the thing, I have to do 20 laps if I want to make a one-stop work because I want to pit at the halfway point in the race, which means I have to drive with dead tires. And as much as I try to tire save, dead tires are still going to be a thing, in which I'm going to just go off the track because I overestimated my turn-in and get slapped with a 2.5 second penalty. And with dead tires, the car is just going to become less and less drivable to the point where I'm understeering off of the track, and now my 2.5 second penalty turns into a 3.5 second penalty. And I'm going to swivel right here, and because I'm going to be slowing down so much, I'm going to be losing so much time, and with the dead tires costing me even more time, I think in this run I ended up losing a staggering 7 seconds. That's a lot of time lost, and I still have to drive another lap with dead tires to do a one stop. And it's going to be right here where, yeah, the car is just becoming extremely undrivable, where I have to slow down so much just to try to make sure that I don't completely spin out. At this point, I don't even know why I kept going to begin with. I think at this point, I should have just given up and restarted the entire thing. But somehow, end of lap 20, I was able to go into the pit stop and get the tire change done. So get a new set of racing hard tires and off we go. And at this point it's just drive as fast as you can while trying to preserve your tires. However, lap 38, end of lap 38, crossing into lap number 39. Unfortunately, I'm a little short on time to be able to do the 39th lap, and it's not going to help that I have dead tires again, and I now have a 2.5 second penalty attached to my name. And yeah, with all of those penalties and bidding it really hard, especially on the first stint, this is going to be another run down the drain, another hour down the drain, where I was short of being able to hit lap number 40. And yeah, unfortunately just not going to work because the dead tires causing a lot of problems, and the penalties that did a pretty big number on me. So I need to go back in there, adjust the car, and give this race another go. Attempt number 9. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with skill issue and I spin out at the final hairpin. Attempt number 10. So this run was actually going really bad because I was going a lot slower. It also doesn't help that the AI car and I collide here, which completely throws me off and pretty much just ends my run. Attempt number 11. I cannot believe that I've gotten to this point, but attempt number 11, I was just begging at this point to be able to make this run be the one that gets me to the 40 lap range. I know it is possible, I just need to actually just make it happen, and I'm just going to do whatever I can at this point to make this run work. Unfortunately, the tire wear becomes an issue once again, but this time it's actually a much worse situation where it's the rear right tire that is wearing out faster than the front right tire, which means that whenever one of the rear tires wears out, the car becomes incredibly unstable to drive, where the car is going to want to spin out everywhere. And you can see that I'm just struggling to keep this car on its best behavior, but the rear right tire is just having none of it, and this is doing whatever it can to throw me into the wall. And unfortunately, it's going to be this turn right here where it's just going to spin me out and have me facing the wrong way. And that was nearly 30 minutes into the race, and all that has gone down the drain. So I knew I had to adjust a couple more things to try to make the front tires wear out a bit faster to keep this car drivable when it comes to that point, which leads to attempt number 12. In this run, I poke off track and I already knew what was coming. A big fat penalty. Oh boy, I love this game. Attempt number 13. I have skill issues. Attempt number 14. I have lost track of how long I've been trying to do this challenge for, and at this point I was just driving out of pure frustration. Luckily, actually kinda luckily, I was able to get a 131, low 131, but I know I can do better than that. However, things are just going to start to fall apart once I start to get a track penalty. It was a 1 second track penalty. Gonna poke off the track right here, have dead tires as well on lap number 19. Here I get another 1 second penalty, go to the pit stop at the end of lap number 20, get a new set of racing hard tires, start to get 130s, but unfortunately that is still not going to be enough to be able to reach lap number 40, where I realized that right here there's gonna be 10 seconds left in just a moment, and it's still just not enough to be able to hit lap number 40. So I knew at this point I pretty much need a perfect run, or a very near perfect run, to reach lap number 40. Like, that's how tight this is. With this run, I was just 9 seconds off of being able to hit lap number 40. And this is where I take a look at the leaderboards and see that it is mainly occupied by cappuccinos now. So I knew I really needed to lock in. So at this point, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do whatever I can. So at this point, I'm throwing away the suspension settings. I'm throwing away the transmission settings to try to squeeze in more power. Attempt number 15. Alright, so here's what happens in this race. I start, I go fast, lap number 17, rear right tire starts to die, and the car starts to become really unstable to the point where the car is going to be attracted to this barrier right here and is going to aggressively make out with it. Attempt number 16. So some of the AI cars have heard that I've been having a hard time, so as their way to motivate me, they're going to send me into the wall. Attempt number 17. So at this point, this challenge has become my own personal hell. This has been pure torment. And unfortunately, the torment is going to continue because at the start of lap number 19, my rear right tire is completely dead, where I knew what was going to happen. Any one of these turns is going to make the rear right tire die, which is exactly what happens here. So that's when I decided to take a break from this challenge, because I've been spending more than 2 weeks and multiple recording sessions just trying to complete this challenge with unfortunately no good results, and I was honestly thinking about giving up on this challenge, so I really had to think about it. So I just went out here and just thought about it for a while. I was like, should I really just continue with this challenge? Should I just give up on... Holy moly, what was that? But then I thought about it for a while, and that's when I thought, what would my Oshi Kiri do? She's not the kind of person that will give up on this. No, I think she's the kind of person that will keep going until she makes the impossible possible. So why should I let her down? Why should I let you guys down? So that's why I knew I have to keep going with this. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this impossibility a possibility. I'm going to complete this challenge and be able to show you guys that yes, I did this. I was able to make this possible. So I went back into the tuning page. I put in street suspension. I moved the ballast forward. I reduced the ballast. I put normal transmission and adjusted the downforce and put in a heck of a lot more power. And at this point, this is why I knew I think this is going to be the one. Through the power of love, friendship, subscribers, and VTubers, I had a great feeling that this was going to be the one to make 40 laps a possibility. Attempt number 18. So with so much time invested into this, there was no turning back. I was going to do whatever it takes to make 40 laps possible, and with that, I went ahead and started my run. Attempt number 18, gonna fly past the Megane Trophy in the Skyline R34. Gonna fly past the Alfa Romeo and the Genesis, and gonna use them to help my car turn in just a little bit better. And at this point, I'm just going to power through the grid, try to just fly past them and make sure that I don't lose too much time. The longer I stick behind these cars, the more time I waste. There was no time to waste at all, and there was a lot of work to be done. I had to make a lot of progress within the span of 1 hour to make 40 laps a possibility. And things were going so good that I was able to catch up to P1 just as I approached the final hairpin and get ready to pass them, and actually getting to the point where I passed them before I even passed the pit stop entry area. That's where I knew I was on a really good run. And with this first lap, I was able to get a mid 140, which is a fantastic start to the race, and I need to keep up with that momentum to be able to constantly get 130s. Is a 130 possible? And it's going to be a yes, a 130.7. I need to keep this up to be able to constantly get 130s, and with that, I think 40 laps will be a possibility. Even getting a 130.3, and that is a fantastic run. But at the end of lap number 19, the front right tire is starting to die, and the rear right tire is getting close to that point as well. So at this point, for lap number 20, I knew I had to start to drive carefully to make sure I don't understeer off of the track and get any unnecessary penalties, because even a small penalty will put the entire run on jeopardy. So at this point, I just knew I had to take it as easy as possible to make sure that I don't go off the track, and to make sure that my rear right tire survives just long enough before I enter the pit stop. But losing 4 seconds at this point, I knew I had to be really careful, because any small mistake would just result in more time lost. But luckily, I was able to enter the pit stop and get a new set of racing hard tires. And with this brief moment, I was able to take a short, deep breath as the tires get changed, but there's no time to waste. It's off we go and get ready to re-enter the track. And at this point, I just need to lock in once again, constantly get 130s, and hopefully make 40 laps a possibility. I'm gonna start to really focus on this, going at the end of lap number 22 where I get a 130.4. Things are looking great so far. I need to keep this up until the very end of the race. Gonna go onto lap number 25, but it's gonna be here where I poke just off of the track once again, and I knew what was coming. I knew that this was going to put the entire run in jeopardy, a 2.5 second penalty. And I had no idea if this was going to kill the entire run, because that is how much of an impact this penalty makes. Anything like that can potentially kill the entire run. And with that penalty, I ended up losing a little over 2 seconds. I knew I cannot make any more mistakes. Any small mistake at this point will seal my fate. And skipping over towards lap 38, where the front right tire is just barely hanging on for dear life. It is close to that point where there's going to be so much understeer that I'm going to be bleeding lots of time. It is already close to that point. I'm starting to lose some time, but I just need that front right tire to just hang on for just a tiny bit little longer, so I don't lose too much time on lap number 39. So right here, losing a little under 2 seconds. I knew I had to be really careful with lap number 39. Starting lap number 39 with a little over 1.5 minutes left, I have just enough time to complete this lap and be able to enter lap number 40, but I cannot mess this up. And the tires are screaming for dear life just as they are about to hit 100% tire wear. I couldn't mess this up. Any small mistake and it's game over. It is another hour down the drain. So just have to be super careful. I cannot go off of the track. I cannot lose control, and I just have to drive so careful but yet so fast to make sure that I have just enough time to cross the start finish line and enter lap number 40. And just trying to be really careful here, nice and careful so I don't go off of the track. And luckily I was able to stay within the track limits, but it is still just so damn close. Anything could happen. Losing 2 seconds at this point, and here comes the final hairpin. I have to be super careful through here, just trying to make sure that I don't understeer off the track, make sure I don't lose control of the car. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle, and at this point is just to hope that I can cross the start finish line before the timer hits 0. The start finish line is just up ahead, 10 seconds left. Will I be able to reach the start finish line? And the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, I was able to hit lap number 40 before the timer hits 0, and I just couldn't believe it. A near perfect run, and it was almost ruined by that penalty, but somehow just able to make it work, crossing the start finish line with only 3 seconds left. It was so damn close, and I was able to do it without the Suzuki Cappuccino. I was able to do it in the Nissan Skyline R34 with the Nissan R92 CP engine swap. You have no idea how much I started crying. I mean, I'm even crying right now, or tearing up right now, but you have no idea how much I was crying when I was able to complete that challenge, because it took up more than 2 weeks, multiple recording sessions, and I was able to get the 40 laps done, and somehow able to even get number 1 in the world. I don't even know. I don't even know at this point. I have no idea how long it's going to stay up there for, but I'm just happy I was able to hit lap number 40 without using the Suzuki Cappuccino. Like, that is a hell of an achievement. And on your screen now is the final tune that I use to hit lap number 40, but my goodness, you need a damn near perfect run to make this work. Like, to answer the question, yes, it is possible to do 40 laps at the Deep Forest 1 hour race without using the Suzuki Cappuccino, but holy hell, it is so difficult. I think this is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in Gran Turismo 7 to this day. Like, there are points where I was genuinely getting angry about this challenge, and I almost gave up quite a few times, but yeah, I managed to just keep going, and I was able to finally make this work. But hopefully this video entertained you in any sort of way. Please consider liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. Comment on the video and all that good stuff, because yeah, this was torment. This was torment to record. This was torment to edit, because this is normally not the thing that I edit. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully I made you guys proud with these stupid shenanigans I did for this video. But that's all for me. Take care, everyone. This is Mr. MCA, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.